I want to jump to the White Sox here a little bit. This has been fascinating this whole year. I know AJ, you might want to talk about them a little bit, but I want to talk to them about what they're going to do catching wise. There's a couple teams that are looking for catchers. There's opportunities for guys out there. Do you see this White Sox team still pushing to finally get the chance to win their division? And do you see them buyers at the trade deadline? There's some opportunities for them to pick up some guys to make this big push, which I hope they do because it's been fun to watch.
Todd, they're definitely buyers. And the injury to Kyle Teal does create the need for a catcher. And we reported yesterday that they're working hard to find a catcher. But of course, in today's game, and actually throughout the game's history, that's a difficult position to fill. Not many guys can do it, not many do it well. So the other problem they have in their search for a catcher is that a number of other teams are also in the market for one. The Yankees for sure, the Dodgers for a backup, maybe the Red Sox. So those are just some of the teams that could be looking. And there are teams that have in their organization young catching, but what the White Sox need and what some of these other clubs need is major league catching. And that's going to be not easy to find. Catching for the White Sox has been kind of a bugaboo. I believe they're last in the league in OPS at catcher. And Teal, who missed the early part of the season, was likely going to help solve that, but now he's out again for quite some time.
Ken, I mean, Teal, I read where Teal said it's going to be on the shorter side. It wasn't as high of an ankle sprain. It's supposed to be 6 to 8 instead of 8 to 12. We'll see. You never know how that goes because last time he just pulled a hamstring and then he hurt his knee. And so he missed almost over 2 months. But the thing is for me is catcher. Catcher is such an interesting position. Hunter Goodman, Stevenson, whoever the catchers that are supposedly out there, a lot of teams are afraid to make a move for a catcher in the middle of the year because they're worried about their pitchers, right? The Yankees don't usually make a Hunter Goodman type splash in the middle of the season. A Stevenson, a Christian Vasquez who's in Minnesota. I know Ryan Jeffers is a bigger name, but Christian Vasquez is a guy that could I don't think he's not in Minnesota anymore or wherever I think he's in Houston now again. He pops up again, right? As someone that could go from A to B to help a team as a backup. Why are teams so afraid to make that move? Again, I made a move to the Cardinals. I thought it went pretty seamlessly. Maybe they would tell you differently, but I don't understand why teams are so afraid, especially with all the analytics, and they pretty much tell them what to call on pitches every day. Anyways, why are teams so afraid to jump in at catcher?
AJ, it's a good question, the way you framed it. And my understanding has always been that it's difficult for a catcher to learn a new pitching staff in the middle of a season. And I can understand where that might be the case. Now, when you mention the analytics and all the information that's available to teams, to individual players today, you would think that would ease it. And I would expect that that would ease the transition, but you're still learning a new staff, and that would give some teams pause. Now, the teams we just mentioned, White Sox, Red Sox, Dodgers, Yankees, among them, they need catchers. So it's not like they can play this game where, well, we're a little reluctant because we're just not sure he'll adapt to the staff. No, they have a clear need, and they're going to have to address that need.
Ken, do the Mariners have maybe the best starting pitcher, even though we may not know which starting pitcher could be available on the trade deadline?
I don't know about the best, Eric, but they certainly have options to offer teams. Now, what we reported yesterday was that with Castillo, it's a little difficult to trade him. He's got big money next year. He's got a vesting option the year after that. And for that reason, the Mariners have at least been listening on Emerson Hancock, who has had a breakout campaign. He's been really good, and he's effectively their sixth starter with two kids at Double-A waiting to come up, and another guy, Logan Evans, who will be back next year from Tommy John surgery. Unlike virtually every other team, they have depth at the starting rotation spot. And you can say the Dodgers have depth, yeah, but Blake Snell and Glasnow are on the IL, so it's not the same kind of thing. The Mariners are in a great spot here, and they need a right-handed bat. Could Emerson Hancock bring a controllable right-handed bat? I would think that would be the case, yes.
Ken, I know you're in New York on Saturday for the Dodgers Mets on Fox, Mr. A team. It's okay, the B team. We're going to the Mariners and the Rangers, okay? So hopefully when you guys get about 2 hours of rain, when you guys get 2 hours of rain in New York, we'll have the Dome in Texas on Fox 1 here, where you can it'll just naturally shift you over on the app. But it's a big series for both teams. Both teams are trying to get over the hump, right? They're all kind of stuck hovering around 500. It's a huge 4-game series that are starting here. Will the Rangers make a move? Is there a move for the Rangers to make? I know we just hit on the Mariners, but is there a move for the Rangers to make besides getting Corey Seager back healthy that can help them surprise the Mariners?
Actually, AJ, for starters, we've been rained out the A team 3 times this year, which has resulted in more airtime for you. So you're welcome. Now, as for the Rangers, actually, what happens this weekend in that 4-game series against the Mariners could be pivotal in determining what they do. They're a team, you look at them right there, they're 500 and they've got 50% playoff odds. So they're right on the bubble. They're right in the middle of this thing. And the last 2 years, I've written about this, they kind of were playing fairly well at the deadline. The first year, Chris Young, well, they're coming off a World Series title. Of course, he's not going to sell. And then the second year, they were kind of okay, but not great, but not terrible. He bought again. And it backfired in the sense that they did not make the playoffs. Now, are they going to persuade him with their play and their health to buy again? That remains to be seen. And it also remains to be seen what they'd be willing to give up both prospect-wise and whether they'd be willing to add financially. So I would say that this weekend is big for the Rangers. And even if they decide to buy, I just don't know to what extent they would.
First, 2-part question. Do you know if CY has a restriction on trade deadline acquisitions in the sense of like money-wise? And the second part of that is you said GMs are not emotional, or they don't make, you said the other day, they don't make like emotional moves or hot seat type of moves. But CY, when I played with him, he was a player, and he said, if you're 1 game out, you could have made a move that could make that 1 game out be 1 game in. So can't we say, okay, maybe he is a little emotional because he was a player?
I was speaking generally, Eric, on that question, and I would say CY is something of an exception. Yes, he does have much more of a player's mentality than some of the other heads of baseball operations that we're seeing. Now, as for his financial leeway, kind of remains to be seen. And somebody was telling me just the other day how at deadline time, sometimes an owner walks into the room the day of the deadline and says, "What do you got?" GM says, "Well, we could do this, but we're going to need this amount of money." And depending on the owner's emotions that day, depending on how he's feeling about the club, he might say, "Okay, go ahead." So it's kind of unclear, and no one's going to broadcast to guys like me what their financial position might be. But my general sense on the Rangers is that they don't have much payroll flexibility, and that their owner, Ray Davis, is not necessarily inclined to take on a lot of money at the deadline. I would not expect that they would, actually.
You're in New York. You get the Dodgers and the Mets on Fox on Saturday. What are you looking forward to? And by the way, start your free trial today at fox1.com. You can see Ken every Saturday on MLB on Fox.
I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to, AJ. It's a great matchup. Nolan McLean against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. That says it all. Those two guys are basically their team's best. And McLean is a guy who had a little bit of a bump earlier in the season, but seems to have found it again. And Yamamoto is obviously one of the most consistent pitchers in baseball. So that's what I'm looking forward to most, just seeing those two guys in action.
All right. According to Ethan, you know who Ethan is with the Mets, he said that McLean's going to win Rookie of the Year. He told me that on July 4th. So let's see what happens, Ken.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Big statement. Big statement. Andy Green in Andy Green's office on July 4th. He said he's expecting Nolan McLean to win. He's going to get hot, and he's going to finish the year strong and win Rookie of the Year. So I don't know. We'll find out on Saturday, Ken. I can't wait to hear your reports, even though I won't be listening because I'll be too busy working. So I can't wait to hear your reports anyways.
AJ, you wouldn't be listening even if you weren't working.
That's not true, Ken, and I take that personal because I actually do listen to what you say sometimes. So
he doesn't read what you say. He watches and listens to what you say.
That's where he draws the line. This reading thing is not. That's not
All right. Well, thank you, Ken. Good luck this weekend. I hope you stay dry. Okay. We'll all be watching MLB on Fox MLB on Fox is streaming on Fox 1. The race to October starts now, and we have your front row seat to the wildest walk-offs, lights-out pitching, and clutch play all season long. Follow every can't-miss matchup as teams battle for a spot in the postseason, then stream the 2026 World Series live on Fox 1. At home or on the go, live or on demand. Never miss a moment. Stream now on Fox 1.